Hello everyone, today we're going to start with the first video. So the first video we're going to start with the first topic of business studies, which is understanding business activity. In the first topic we have the term need. Now what do we mean by the term need? Need is something which is really essential for us to live, which we need to survive. So for example, water or food, we need water and food to survive. Without it we might die. And it could be a good or a service. And then we're having want is something which is what we would like to have. It's like a desire, but which is really not essential to live, so we could live without it. It's not necessary to survive. For example, a television. Then the economic problem is when there is an unlimited want but limited resources. So now we want plenty of things, but then to produce those things there are limited resources, so that's called the economic problem. The term scarcity refers to the lack of sufficient products to fulfill wants of people. So this is directly linked with economic problem. Because of scarcity, economic problem is created. So scarcity is when the resources needed to produce the goods and services are really in less amounts. Then we have factors of production. Now we have 4 factors of production, which means that these are the resources needed to produce a good or a service. So the 4 factors of production are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Now we'll be learning them in detail further. You have to remember that these kind of terms, which is like needs, wants, they usually come in the exam paper as 2-mark questions to define the term. So they could ask define the term economic problem. So you should be able to define it in order to score the full 2 marks. Okay, now continuing to the factors of production. The first factor of production is land. So now land is anything which is covering the natural resources provided by nature. So it could also be the natural resources like coal, oil, or gas, and it can also be the factory premises or something like that. Then we have labor. Labor is the number of people available to produce the goods. So it could be the employees or the workers. Then we have capital. Capital is the finance or machinery. So by the term finance, they mean the capital amount invested into the business. So before you start a business, you invest a particular amount of money. So that is called your capital amount. And capital could also be referred as machinery. So it could be like your machinery in your factory, something like that. And enterprise is the entrepreneur combining the factors of production. So here the enterprise is the one who's going to be the one having the skill and risk-taking ability to bring all the factors of production, which is land, labor, capital, into consideration, and they bring it together to create a business. And this is the formula for scarcity. So it's unlimited wants plus the limited resources, which is equal to scarcity. The next term is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the next best alternative given up. So this means that here we need a choice to be made. So for example, if you have a choice to choose between a Samsung mobile and an iPhone mobile, if you would choose the iPhone, then Samsung would be your opportunity cost. That means that's the thing which you're giving up to choose a particular product. Then we're having specialization. Specialization is when people and businesses concentrate what they're best at. So this means now there are different professions. Now you can't be a doctor and an engineer at the same time. That's because if you're a doctor, that's the field which you're mainly focusing at. That means you're specialized at that profession. Now specialization is common because first, specialized machinery and technologies are now widely available, and you're having increasing competition, which means that businesses have to keep costs low. Third point is people recognize higher living standards from being specialized. Now if you're an engineer and doctor, you won't be able to manage your time and the things you're doing. Division of labor is a production process split up into different tasks. This means that now in every business you have different departments like the HR department, operations, and marketing department. So we have those different departments so that the production is split into different tasks. Each person has a different task to do. Now the people in marketing department have a different job from the people in the operations department. Now the advantage of division of labor is that there will be increased efficiency in output, which means that the worker will be very efficient in his work, which will be a benefit for the firm, and less time is wasted. This is because the worker won't have to be moving from one workplace to another, and it will be quicker and cheaper to train, which means you only have to train the employee or the worker for a particular job, not like for different tasks. The disadvantage could be that the worker may become bored doing the same job over and over again every day. The second disadvantage is that the one worker is absent, then the production could be stopped, because if that one worker is the one who's doing the job and no one else knows how to do the job, the production could be stopped. That's only a possibility though. Added value is the difference between the selling price of a product and the cost of bought in materials. This means that the selling price of a product is the price which you sell to your customer, and the cost of bought in materials is the cost of the raw materials you buy. And if value added is not added, then the other costs cannot be paid for. So these costs could include direct and indirect costs. So it could be that you won't be able to pay your labor's wages or your rent or electricity, and secondly, no profit will be made. So if now profit is calculated after value is added to the business. So if now there is no added value, then the firm won't make any profit. And the formula for calculating added value is selling price of a product minus material and bought in costs, which is equal to added value. Why is added value important? Now, added value is important so that you can pay other costs, and those costs could include rent, wages, electricity. Second, you should be able to make profit. So, in order to make profit, you need added value. And second question is, how can a business increase added value? First, you need to increase the selling price but keep the cost of material the same. Second, reduce the cost of materials. This means that you reduce the cost of raw materials, maybe by buying cheaper raw materials, but at the same time keep the selling price the same. You don't change the selling price. Now remember, the added value amount you get is not the profit. The profit you will get only after deducting the costs of the firm by the added value, from the added value. That's when you get your profit. And now this is the end of our first topic, understanding business activity. We'll be coming up with more videos every weekend, and please subscribe and like the video. Thank you. And if you want these notes, they're free in my website, which I've mentioned in my description box. So go and check it out.